Hey folks, March 31st, 2026. It is a Tuesday, and for the next 5 days, including today, we're going to be in the high 70s, low 80s in the day, high 50s, low 60s overnight. And what I want to do is I want to get some peppers in the ground, take advantage of that. And the reason I want to do this, it's my Aleppo pepper. I've never grown them before, but they are the most vigorous seedlings that I have of my peppers. I think I probably have about 30 of them. Maybe a few less, not sure. Anyway, point is, they're in small cell packs. And when you plant in a small cell pack, one good thing is it can root out quickly. One bad thing is it can root out quickly. It's a good thing because it can fill that container really quick with a root, and you can, if your timing's good, you can get it out right in a relatively short period of time. Problem is, if your timing isn't that great and you're early, it's going to run out of nutrition in the cell pack. And that's kind of where I'm at, I think, with mine right now. They're rooted out pretty well, not overly root bound, but I think they're probably a little bit hungry. My soil's pretty healthy in the garden, and I kind of want to get them out for that purpose. Plus, I want to capitalize on this warmer weather, so hopefully it can kind of jumpstart their root system establishing in the garden through some of the cooler periods of spring. But I think they're going to be, I would typically try to get my peppers in maybe mid-April, maybe the third week of April at the earliest. But being the forecast looks good, I have some row cover I'm going to throw over top. I'm going to take advantage of it now. And I actually started yesterday, so let's see what I've done. And then you'll see what I'm about to do. We took the garden tour yesterday, and these are my strawberry beds. And coming to the end of the strawberry beds, I pointed out yesterday that this one felt like a pepper bed. And so last night, prior to calling it a day in the garden, I transplanted 4 of these peppers. They've got about 4 true leaves each. I've got them spaced about 1 foot apart, and I'm gonna have them running 2 rows down this bed. And once I get them in and watered in, we're gonna toss some row cover over top. There's probably a hole in that one, but really the goal of that is to sort of trap a little bit of humidity in there if possible, a couple of degrees of extra warmth. And then if we do have a frost, hopefully I can keep, the row cover would keep the frost from touching the leaves for the most part. Now if we get a hard freeze, I'm kind of in trouble at that point. But barring that, I should be okay. So this is my tray of peppers. The left side, where you can see a lot of rinky dinks, those are Fatali. I don't know, they were doing well until they weren't, and I don't know if something actually, when I had them out, started picking at them a little bit. So all of a sudden I noticed I wound up with a few stems and no leaves. Still got a few good ones in there. Kind of bummed about that. I may start more of them, I haven't decided yet. But this side are my Aleppos. And I've got a couple of missed cells. But really, what do we got? Including the ones in the ground, we've got 30 that are going to go out in total. So I have 26 in here that I want to go. So I need 13 more down either way. I don't know how far that's going to take me down for about 15 feet. So I'll have space in the end of the bed where I can throw something else in there. Not sure what it's going to be, but yeah, let me get set up and I'll show you kind of what I'm going to do. I use a pretty slow process. I'm going to actually use a little bit of hand watering from a jug just so I can really control the flow rate into the actual hole that the plant's going to go. My watering cans are both sort of broken at the ends where the water comes out, so it doesn't come out consistently, and it has a tendency to gush from the damage, and I don't want them to splash the plants really hard after they go in. So we're going to take it nice and slow and gentle. So I'm using my trusty Hori knife to lay out my distance. I think this is probably a total of about, maybe about 10 inches, 12 inches in total length. So I usually put it close to the end of one plant, give it a little bit of room on this side, and that's where this next one's going to go. Let's take a look at the roots on these guys. I'm going to pull one out real quick. It's a little dry right now, but you can see we've got roots all around, and that should be enough for it to establish and hold. I'm going to plant it pretty much right up until the bottom of the cotyledons. The way I'm going to try to get these into the ground here, because I'm top dressed with organic matter that's relatively chunky, but beneath that is organic matter that's very well decomposed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand and scritch back and forth to get to the more decomposed stuff. That's where this plug is going to go into. And then I'm going to backfill around. I'm I'll backfill with that material, and then I'll mulch around it with this top stuff. So right now, the looser stuff is out of the way. I've got this area right here, which is much more decomposed, and just nice and gently move that out to about the size of the plug. Put the plug in, give it a little bit of a push, gently put that material around it. And at this point, I like to do my watering. If I'm using a jug like this, just to sort of, I've got a well now to fill up, so the water's not going to rush all over the place. And we can let it fill and watch it drain a bit. If I want to put more in there, I can put more in there. You can see I'm losing, because this matter even below is relatively loose, it is sort of moving the organic matter around a bit and creating kind of these holes and pockets. Again, I'm not concerned about that at all. I can always just, move material around to fill them back up. But now that that's nice and absorbed, I'm going to put this mulch layer back on top. And just like that, that root should be well in contact with enough moisture and firm soil for it to take hold. Hopefully in the next 5 to 10 days, continue to root out. And this organic matter, which is dry, should still be thick enough to where it's going to hold some moisture in below. And of course, over the next few days, I'm still going to water it. And then I think in about a week's time, maybe less than a week, we do have a rain scheduled. I don't bank on the rain here because it's relatively inconsistent, but I will keep an eye on the plants every morning. And if they do look like they're flagging a bit in the mornings, they will definitely get more water as needed. And that's how I throw plants in the ground. Sometimes I'm more aggressive, sometimes I'm more gentle. It's all kind of whatever I'm feeling. I'm gonna go ahead and get these next ones in the ground. Like I said, we're gonna have 2 rows of 15, and then I'm gonna get some hoops that I've got bent over top and get the row cover on. I'll show you the final product once they're all in the ground. And then, yeah, we'll cross our fingers and hope that this wasn't too premature. But I do get impatient. These plants really don't want to stay in these cell packs any longer than they're already in there. And I think the weather's probably gonna hold. How do I know? I'm hoping the weather holds well enough to where this doesn't turn out to be a catastrophe. That remains to be seen. And so there we have it. 30 Aleppo pepper plants in the ground. So now we wait and see if the gamble pays off. Only thing I got to do is still throw that piece of row cover on, and then the whole thing will be done. So if it's a gamble and it pays off, it looks brilliant. If it's a gamble and it fails, it's an easy I told you so moment. But there's a couple reasons additionally, some small but kind of big, that I wanted to get them out there right now. First is, I like getting my plastic back in rotation because now I can throw some more potting mix in these, throw some more seeds in here, and try to get something else going. I have a limited amount of plastic, and I really don't have much plastic of this small size. I like the small size because, like I said, it roots out fast, which means you can turn crops really quickly in that. I guess I don't have much of that. The other reason why is because, let me turn the camera around real quick and show you sort of how I have my seedlings set up outside and explain why it's important for me to get them into the garden faster. So once I get my plants kind of up and running under cover, I move them outside into the sun, and every night I've got to bring them back inside because we do have pest pressure from deer and other critters that are roaming around that are going to disturb these things. So they probably only get between 6 and 8 hours of outside time, depending on what time I actually get out here and what time I kind of go back inside. So for those peppers, for example, since they did have a well-rooted system, I didn't want to pot them up into something else. And if they're in the garden, that means when sun's breaking at around 7:30, all the way to sun setting around 7 o'clock, they've got all that extra time in the sun. So I kind of, anything I can get into the ground sooner from a light standpoint, I like to do. And additionally, like I said, the small cell packs, they can root out fast, but then they kind of get starved for food. So getting them in the soil where I know I have a lot of good nutrition in my soil will help them feed faster. The moisture holds out there a lot better than it's going to hold in these things. They get the longer light. I am going to put the row cover on top, like I said, for two reasons. One, I'm going to get the protection from the frost. If it does get kind of cold, it'll hold extra moisture. And if we do get birds flying in the garden and want to peck at some green things, it should keep those off as well. So yeah, right now, simultaneously, I'm putting cool season stuff and warm season stuff in the ground because in the spring here in North Carolina, we have wonky weather. Not too unlike a lot of the South and some of the Midwest. Our spring can be relatively short. So we're kind of fighting against our last frost date versus our first real boiling stretch. And sometimes that period of time can be relatively short. So I try to take advantage of, as much as I can, timeline for both of those crops types at the same time. Try to get my cool season stuff out before it gets, too hot, but my warm season stuff out before it's gonna get cold again. It's kind of a bit of a gamble, but I have my dates that I like for most things, and whether or not it works out, most of the time things do pretty well, sometimes they don't. This one, I have confidence right now. Why? Because I need the win. So, if you have any questions or comments, please post below. If you like what you saw, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And yeah, appreciate you coming out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.